hubs are you? Happiness, anger, fear, sadness. Whatever you're feeling, we got it here. Your one and only radio station, 91.8 Hubs Radio.
What do you mean? I don't even know her.
But she knows you because of your songs.
Youth, stop. Listen to me. You have been seeking me for weeks, and here I am. Will you really let her fool you once more? Will you really let yourself continue to be a victim to life's cruelty?
You are right, Death. Please forgive me. Goodbye, life.
Stop!
There isn't a feeling as magical as being in love. It makes you blush, consumes your mind and heart, makes you feel things that words can't bring to justice. Love is something we all wish to find. People whose lives have ended without ever being in love are unfortunate. But perhaps not as unfortunate as those who find it as they stare at the face of death. Let me now present to you The Game by Louise Bryant. That is about an unusual love story between two people whose love proved to be enough to conquer death himself.
Our story starts with Death, sitting in front of a table, fiddling with the dice. Though, it's obvious his attention isn't on the simple piece of a board game. Instead, it's on the woman in front of him. Counting abstractly, life was what they call her.
50,000, 51, 65, 90, 200.
Come, life. Forget your losses. It's no fun playing with a dull partner. I had hoped for a good game tonight. Although, there's little in it for me. Just a couple of suicides.
My dear Death, I wish you could grant me a favor.
A favor? Now isn't that just like a woman? I never saw one yet who was so willing to abide by the results of a fair game.
But I want these two. Whether I win or lose, I must have them.
And why is that? What makes them so interesting?
They're dreamers, Death. And you know that I'm in desperate need of dreamers. All these ungrateful children killing themselves over their first disappointments.
But that's not how it works. We must play the game. That is the law.
The law? But the law is always in your favor, Death.
I always said the universe would be in a wild state of disorder if the woman had any say. You must play the game, life.
I never said anything about not playing. No. All I want is for you to let them meet before the game begins.
Life's eyes are fixated on Death as he thinks about it. A few minutes of silence pass, with Death weighing the pros and cons, and Life hoping that he'll agree. After a while, Death sighs.
I'm sure this isn't as innocent as it sounds. So, before I agree, tell me who they are. I didn't pay much attention to them before.
A sigh of relief escapes Life's lips. Quickly she answered,
They are Youth and the girl. He is a poet while she is a dancer.
Ah! I see. A strong man and a beautiful woman. Up to the same old tricks, eh? You sly thing. You think if they meet, they'll fall in love and cheat me. Don't you?
Life lowers her head in embarrassment. It was wishful thinking. They both know it. Death laughs and walks to one side of the room. This isn't the first time she had played the same trick. She's always hoping to get two people to fall in love, hoping to get a happy ending from them. And although Death thinks it's stupid, He does find these things entertaining, especially when he wins in the end.
Well, you can't expect me to agree without getting something out of this. Tell me, dear, what are you willing to give in exchange for my consent?
Life is quick to answer.
I'll give you Kaiser Wilhelm, the Tsar of Russia, George of England, and old Francis Joseph. That's 2-1.
Now that's dishonest. You're well aware of my disinterest in monarchs, and I am aware of yours. Why? When you play for them, you almost go to sleep, and I always win. No bargaining in kings, my dear.
I'll give you whole regiment of soldiers.
Soldiers? My dear, you have truly lost your mind. Look at the board. See how many soldiers you've lost? Millions of soldiers from Europe alone. And yet you're willing to lose more? Just for two idiots? Your idea of a fair trade is to get something from nothing. You love too much. With such covetousness, how can you ever know the thrill of chance?
Please, my dear, I'll give you anything. I'll give you the...
Starts to say, but the words die on her lips as a figure comes into the room. Youth. Life gasped, understanding washing over her.
You fooled me. You were only playing for time.
Come, dear. The game has started. It's time for the dice to decide. And just think, if you win this cast, the others have won. They'll meet then.
Youth stares at the two figures before him. These people weren't human. He was sure. They were simply ethereal. The woman, with flowers in her dark hair and her dark blue dress flowing in the wind. She looked beautiful. And then there was the man, with his dark clothes and even darker eyes filled with mischief. He was buzzing with excitement. For a moment, Youth could only stare. Then, suddenly he speaks, adoration in his voice.
Who are you?
Life was the first to answer.
I am Life.
Upon hearing this, Youth scowls.
Life? I am done with you. I have loved you, and you gave me nothing but pain.
Life gasped at the cruelty of his words, but Youth was too mad to care. Besides, he believed he was being fair. She has hurt him more than he will be able to hurt her. She seemed beautiful in his eyes, but now, not so much. A laugh from the man caused his attention to shift towards him.
And you? Who are you?
I am Death.
Death? How different you are from my dreams. You're...
Incredibly handsome? I know it's a curse.
No. That's not what I was trying to say. I was just expecting you to look more terrifying.
Oh. Yes. Of course. Many people are scared of dying. Perhaps that's why people envision me as someone with a terrifying persona. But those are just looks.
Death suddenly gestures to Life.
Look at her. She looks beautiful. Caring, even. But you know better. That's why you came seeking for me. Isn't that right?
Excuse me?
You're right. Oh, Death, I've been seeking you for weeks.
Youth suddenly takes a step closer to Death, seemingly oblivious to the horrified woman nearby. At this, Death perks up. A blinding grin settles on his face.
Tell me, youth, how have you been seeking me?
I tried poison, but just as I was about to swallow it, they snatched it from me. I tried shooting myself. They cheated me. The pistol wouldn't go off.
Those bastards!
So now I am here, ready to jump into the cruel sea.
Well, you better hurry. Someone might try and stop you again.
Youth prepares himself to jump, but Life suddenly speaks up.
Why? Why do you wish to die?
Youth couldn't believe what he was hearing. Suddenly, He was consumed by anger. How could she pretend to be oblivious to all the pain she has caused him?
Don't act as if you don't know. Didn't you give me the power to string beautiful words into songs? Did you not give me love to sing to and take love away? I can't sing anymore. I have given so much for love, and then you take it away. And with it, my songs, my talent, and my reason to live.
You're sure it was love? I think it was only desire I gave you. You didn't seem ready for love.
You're lying. What's love then? You gave me a girl who sold flowers on the street. She had hair like gold and a body all curves, and rose white like marble. I sang my songs for her, and the whole world listened. Then an ugly beast came and offered her gold, and she laughed at me, and went away.
That is love, boy. You're lucky to have found it so young.
Now I know it was desire.
Oh, Death, why does she persist in lying?
I am a sport and a gentleman. And I must admit, life is as truthful as I am.
Tell me, Youth, did a girl ever understand your songs?
Why would she? Women don't need to understand. No, they only need to be as beautiful and as fragrant as flowers.
Death purses his lips and raises his eyebrows. Meanwhile, Life looks at him as if he is stupid. What kind of nonsense thinking is that?
Is that all?
I do not know many women.
Well, I assure you, not all women are like your sweetheart. There's a woman out there who understands your songs, and she's coming here right now.
To jump in the ocean, like you.
Because she is lonely. Because she's been waiting for you.
Youth was suddenly stunned into silence. For a moment, he looks at Life, wondering if she was insane, or simply a persistent liar.
What do you mean? I don't even know her.
But she knows you because of your songs.
Youth, stop. Listen to me. You have been seeking me for weeks, and here I am. Will you really let her fool you once more? Will you really let yourself continue to be a victim to life's cruelty?
Youth is stunned into silence. He is right. He had enough of life. Now, he wishes to be thrust into death's cold embrace.
You're right, Death. Please forgive me. Goodbye, Life.
He turns and faces the sea. He is getting ready to jump when Life suddenly screams.
Stop!
That simple word, Youth freezes. Standing tall and wide, his arms outstretched as if he is attempting to hug the world. Life suddenly turns towards Death.
We must play first. It's what the law requires.
Ah, how the tables have turned. Now it is you inviting me to play. Well then, let's not waste any more time, shall we?
He asked, gesturing to the table that was found behind them. They walk forward and sit on opposite sides of the table. Life grabs the dice. The game has begun. With a flick of her wrist, she throws the dice. Her lips curl into a smile as Death grumbles and scowls. She has won. Suddenly, Youth unfreezes, his head dropping in defeat.
Then I shall live longer. I thought I couldn't hate you anymore, Life. But you have proven me wrong. Without love, you are crueler than death.
You may say that now, but I promise you, you will think I am beautiful once you meet her.
You probably will, you know. But that's the comedy of it all.
I doubt. You give nothing but promises. But
Suddenly stops talking. He's looking at something behind Death. Life and Death turn around, only to catch a sight of a woman running towards them. She almost bumps into Life, before she startles and steps away.
Who are you?
I am Life.
You? Oh, Life! I can't take this anymore. I must leave you. You are cold and cruel.
Why, my child? Why are you complaining? Have I not given you wealth, money, and fame?
Yes, you have. But what are those without love?
Death and Youth are completely baffled, while a smile appears on Life's face.
What?
Who are you?
He is Death.
Yes, I am. And girl, I think you're mistaken. You, without love? How about those who stand at the stage door every evening and send you flowers and jewels? One of them even shot himself because you stampled on his flowers. Believe me, my dear, that is all the love there is.
No! That was desire. I'm sure of it.
Oh, wow! Desire when they seek you, love when you seek them.
No, no! Love understands. They didn't. They wanted to buy me in order to destroy me. That's why I stamp on their flowers.
Of course! Incredibly sentimental, aren't we?
good. I'm glad you did.
Girl turns towards the direction of the voice. As she turns, her eyes land on those in front of her. The man in front of her had eyes so blue, so deep, like a replica of the ocean in front of them. Though he looks to be in his early 20s, his eyes seem too old, too tired. She recognizes the awareness, the defeat in his eyes. How could she not? Her eyes were as tired as his.
Who are you?
Life takes note of the way she spoke, as if she was drowning her whole life. And now, with Youth in front of her, the girl can finally breathe. A satisfied smile rests on Life's lips, a contrast to the disappointed frown on Death's face. Youth smiles and answers her.
I'm Youth.
Youth? The poet! Oh, I love your songs! I have kissed every line. Always when I dance, I try to dance them. Every time I hear a song of yours, I'm caught off guard. I have never heard anything more beautiful than your songs.
For a moment, Youth and girl stare at each other, drinking each other in. Life looks at the two in front of her, and tries not to squeal. Suddenly, girl notices how close Youth is to the edge of the cliff.
But what are you doing here?
Isn't it obvious? He came to throw himself into the sea.
What? Why? You can't do that. What would the world do without your songs? What would I...
Do not worry, girl. I have won.
Unfortunately.
But why? Why would you ever want to kill yourself?
For a moment, Youth asked himself this too. Perhaps life had been right. Perhaps it was desire that consumed him when he saw the girl, and not love.
Oh, he came here because his sweetheart left him.
What? But that's impossible. Why would someone ever leave him? Him with his beautiful songs that could make even the cruelest hearts melt.
She doesn't understand the songs. She doesn't appreciate it.
Well then, she was not worth of your love. She was like the men who wait for me at the stage door. She wanted to destroy you.
Well, life is like that. My dear, love will always hurt you.
You're right. It is all a myth. Life, love, happiness. I must idealize someone, something, and then the bubble bursts. And I am alone. No, If she could not understand, no one could understand.
But you are wrong! I understand! Don't you believe me? I have danced all you have sung! Do you remember the bird calls?
And as if to prove a point, girl starts dancing, twirling and jumping with a grace that youth never knew a person could be capable of. Her eyes are closed as her body moves with the imaginary music. Each movement, each spin was a calculated move delivered with grace. Youth can do nothing but stare with awe. How is it possible that someone could look so beautiful? Her eyes open as she ends the dance. Her lips curl into a small smile upon seeing the look on his face. People have admired her dancing, but no one looked at her like this, as if she was a flower, one he does not wish to possess, but one that he wants to nurture and care for.
You do understand. You understand it so well. The way your body moves as if carried by the waves, by the air. Oh, please, do one more. Dance for me again. Dance my cloud flight.
I would love to, youth. That song is the loveliest of them all. But I can't dance anymore. Never again. I came here to die.
And you'd forgotten about it already. You, children, are all the same. You are aware of life's cruelty, yet you still come back as soon as she presents one pretty little lie.
But I have found youth. I have found love.
I too have found love. Real love at last. Love that burns like fire in the flowers, like the trees. And I do not wish to let that love go.
Youth takes a step closer to girl, and another, until she is right in front of him. He gently clasps her hand and presses it to his lips.
You will not die.
He whispers to her, a promise he's not sure he can keep, but he would try. He then turns to Death.
Go ahead and try her to take away from me. I will use our love to fight you. Love is, and always has been, stronger than death.
Are you sure about that? Think of the great lovers of the world. Paula and Francesca, Romeo and Juliet, Tristan and Isolde. Even they were not enough to escape death. What makes you think you can?
Not waiting for an answer, Death turns toward girl. He takes a step closer to her, and she moves back. Behind Youth, Death's lips form a smirk. Do these idiots really think they will be able to beat Death?
You, girl, do you really think he loves you? Or perhaps he only loves it when you dance to his song? He's a poet, therefore he only loves himself. And right now he claims to love you. Just as he claimed to love his sweetheart he has already forgotten about. What makes you think you're different? What makes you think when a much more beautiful girl comes, he will not forget you?
Girl, please. I can't give you so much. I can only give happiness for a moment. But it's real happiness. Love, creation, unity with the tremendous rhythm of the universe. I can't promise that you'll not be forgotten, but I can promise that, even if for only for a moment, he loved you.
To be supremely happy for a moment? An hour? That's worth living for.
You fool! Life offers many things. Then she takes them away. She will promise you warmth, and then give you a cold winter right after. She will promise you a feast, then kill you with hunger the next day. She gives you love and desire, then she takes them away. Why let yourself be hurt like that, when you can come to me instead? I do not offer a million comforting lies, only one truth, peace. Come with me, and I will give you peace.
Peace? Do you think I want peace? I, a dancer? A child of the whirling winds? Do you think I would be blind by the sunlight? Deaf to youth's music? To my sweet applause? Dumb to laughter? All this joy that is in me, scattered in darkness, lost in my hair, in my eyes, on my dancing feet. But life is just too cruel.
Youth suddenly puts his hand on her cheek, rubbing it comfortingly with her thumb. He whispers another promise.
My dearest, we will never leave one another.
Life steps in front of the couple, placing herself between death and the young lovers. Her head is held high. A fire is burning in her eyes. She is ready to fight death.
She is mine.
Aren't you forgetting something? The game!
It is half won. She also found love.
Yes, but in willing to die, she laid her life on the knees of the fates. So we must play for her. It is the law.
Well, unfortunately for you, I'm not afraid to play. This time, I have you, Death.
Have me? That's what you think, life. But I am cleverer than you. In this game, both their lives are at stake.
Suddenly, Life's confidence wavers. As soon as it appeared, it was gone, replaced by shock and a hint of fear.
Both? What do you mean, my dear? I have already won youth. He can't die.
True, but there's no certainty that you can win girl as well. If you do, then these two can live happily ever after. But if she dies, do you really expect him to stay alive? Live once again without love? Yes, he cannot die, so he will suffer. He will suffer so much until you will be begging for me to come for him.
Realization washes over them. Girl and youth stiffen, obviously nervous, afraid of what might happen. Life falls on her knees.
Death, please. I beg you.
She starts, but Death does not let her finish. Instead, he gestures to the table that has appeared once again, a few feet behind them.
Well, isn't this a sight to see? Life begging death. Ah, dear. Even if I wanted to help you, I couldn't. We must play. It is the law.
It is the law.
They walk towards the table. Girl's breath hitches as Life grabs the dice. With a flick of her wrist, she rolls the dice. It lands on the table. Youth and Girl await for one of them to speak, to announce the victor. Suddenly, Life smiles.
Looks like I won again.
Yes!
Finally!
The couple cheers and embraces each other as Death throws the dice onto the floor.
Curse the luck! But one day, we will play for these two again. And when that day comes, I will have them.
Yes, but by then, we will have lived. But until then, you are powerless, and I will protect her from you with all my might.
And so, the two live life and death. Their hands are linked as they walk off together. They both know that one day they will come back, and they won't be as lucky. But that is tomorrow's problems. For now, they are in love, and that is enough. Death suddenly laughs once the youth and girl disappear from their sight.
Well, it was a good game after all. You see, that's the difference between you and me. You play to win, and I play for the fun of the thing. But tell me, why is it that you make such a fuss over dreamers but care so little about soldiers?
Ah, soldiers don't matter one way or the other to me. But someday, the dreamers will chain you to the earth, and I will have the game all my way.
Well, that remains to be seen. But how about kings?
Kings are my enemies. Do you remember how careless I was during the French Revolution? I've always had it in my conscience, and I think I'd feel better if I told you. Whenever I threw a good combination, I juggled the dice.
I'm not surprised. Heavens, aren't women unscrupulous? And yet they call me unfair. Well, I suppose I've got to keep an eye on you.
I warn you, I will stop at nothing.
They stay silent together for a while, replaying the events of the day. Then life decided to break the silence.
By the way, what's the game tomorrow night?
A plague. And in that game, I regret to say, you haven't a chance in the world to beat me.
Ha! Don't be so sure, dear. Don't forget, I have science to help me.
Science! A fool's toy! I sweep them all together in my net. The men of learning and the ones they try to cure.
But remember that the sun, the blessed healing sun, still rises every morning.
Don't remind me about the sun.
He says, then walks away, seemingly still bothered by the sun. Life starts to count her losses again, and as she counts abstractly, she looks up. He may never know. She thinks to herself. He may never know how much she cares about soldiers. He may never know that. Despite herself, she believes there are dreamers among those soldiers.
Until next time, my dreamers.
I hope you loved the drama special for today and learned that love is stronger than death. Don't forget to tweet your reactions about the drama using the hashtag #TheGame by Louise Bryant. This is me, DJ JC, who always reminds you to never give up without a fight. See you again next time for another episode of Half's Drama Special.